Good day, ladies and gents, my name is Kelzo and I have amazing news for you today. The Acolyte has been
cancelled.
Yes, the news came out late last night for me and I just woke up and saw them on the nets. A lot of major news outlets have already reported it and it's confirmed. The Acolyte Season 2 will not be happening. The show has been cancelled, scrubbed, thrown into the dumpster and let to burn as it has been since its release. You have articles from Deadline, The Acolyte cancelled, no season 2 for Disney Plus Star Wars series. The Verge, The Acolyte has been cancelled, with the addition that the news comes just a little over a year after Disney CEO Bob Iger told CNBC that reining in spending on big budget Marvel and Star Wars projects could be an important part of his plan to get the company back in a healthier financial position. And seeing how The Acolyte just burned through $180 million to make, I have no doubts that this is going to be a very painful and very expensive lesson on how not to do things. But let's have a little recap on exactly what The Acolyte was, and I'm gonna show you one of my favorite sites to go to when it comes to The Acolyte. This is Rotten Tomatoes, of course. I'm showing you this site because the article at Deadline actually had the nerve to write about the views, about how many views, how strong it dominated with 4.8 million views in the first day, how it did okay with critics but divided Star Wars fans. This is not division, folks. 18% is not a division, it's a demolition of the highest order from the fans. 18% is one of the lowest scores that I have seen on a TV show or a movie on this website. Imagine being part of one of the biggest fan bases in the world and having only 4.8 million views on your opening, rising up to 11 point something million, and then dropping off almost immediately until the end of the show, dropping off the charts, because we do have the Nielsen charts as well, which show it on number 10. This is before it fell off on the 4th week of its release. 335 minutes in the millions watched. And if we go even down, you will see that, for comparison, some of the other projects from Disney Star Wars, which are also some of them absolutely abysmal. Ahsoka 575, Andor 674, Boba Fett 885, Obi-Wan 860. These were shows that some of them did not do so well with fans as well. However, all of them have almost double, if not more, in some cases, viewership throughout the whole series. This is what happens when the money runs out, because I've talked about this in previous videos. The money pot for woke shows has finally run dry. Nobody wants to finance these absolute abhorrent black holes of projects anymore. You have seen this with Marvel deciding to sack their diversity staff. You have seen this with other companies as well, and it's become apparent that all those investors have finally begun to see that this is an absolute bottomless pit that they're just throwing money into. There's no profit in diversity and inclusion promoting and propaganda, because the fans are the ones that have the final say. And I'm going back to the Rotten Tomatoes score, 18%. That means that only 18% of people actually had something positive to do it. And those 18% are those overly loud people who spent the last 2 weeks just retweeting and hashtagging renew the Acolyte all over Twitter, and they were everywhere just wanting and just pleading for Disney to renew the show for a second season. 18%. Of those 18%, I can guarantee you that only 5 or 6% are actually people who truly fully enjoy the people. This is my opinion. 78% of critics liked it. That means that even with this, even with the state of professional critics, this has not reached a absolute perfect status as it was intended to do, which means that even then there were people who had actually the balls to speak their minds and just tell their honest opinion. And as I talked in several of my latest videos, that I think the tide is finally turning. You can see it from everywhere. You can see how Black Myth Wukong is now dominating the charts and it's the most anticipated game of the year. You can see how Deadpool and Wolverine has soared to become the biggest R-rated movie and one of the most successful movies in recent times, with 1.1 and above billion globally, especially keeping in mind that it had a budget of like 200 million, which is not a small budget per se. However, when you think who is in that movie, what characters and what actors play in that movie, it becomes real apparent that it was very well managed financially. To remind you, The Acolyte had a 180 million for all of its episodes, and it was an absolute disaster on every level, which just goes to show when you're vocal enough about the things you like and the things you don't like, you can make a change. And that's exactly what happened. Disney finally saw the light and decided to not pour any more money into things that will never in a million years make them money. The Acolyte was an absolute disaster. I am absolutely certain that they didn't make half of what they spent on that show. And when you draw the line at the end of the fiscal year, you just see all the mistakes that you made as a showrunner, as a director, as someone who signs off on approving these shows. Which brings me to another conclusion, that next year is probably going to be a renaissance, and I think that Disney Plus might actually see the light and start to announce shows that are actually good, and maybe, just maybe, contact actual fans of these franchises and start asking the questions to them instead of people who have no experience, who have no idea, and who just want to push their idiotic propaganda into the mainstream entertainment services. Will that happen? We'll see. There's only a few months left until the end of the year, so we'll see news pretty soon, in my opinion. But until then, the house of cards in the house of mouse is still continuing to crumble, and we can see the pile of money just burning away in a fiery blaze. And once it all burns down, maybe the renewal will come. Anyways, that's all I have for this video. Thank you very much for watching. What do you think? Will there be a renewal at Disney after these news, or will they continue on their old path and just try to pander to the wrong people once again? Tell me what you think down in the comments below. Follow me on my socials, click the like and subscribe button here to support me, and also you can support me on Patreon, where I raise money for homeless animals and animals in shelters. Thank you. I have been Helzo, and this has been DiscussThing. Cheers and stay fresh.